Hey everybody, and welcome back to the board meeting. Today I'm going to be reviewing two newer roll and writes that have came out. Longshot the Dice Game and Riverside. Longshot the Dice Game came out this year, 2022. Riverside came out 2021, but I hadn't been able to get a hold of it. And I got a hold of both of these in the last couple weeks. Been playing them quite a bit. So let's just go ahead and review both of them at the same time. I'm going to be giving short reviews on them and giving them a rating. I'll go quickly through how the game plays, but it's definitely not going to be a how to play game or how to play video. Now let's start with Longshot the Dice Game. Longshot the Dice Game thematically is you are going to the racetrack betting on these horses, and you're trying to bet on the winning horses. The game is going to be go until 3 horses have crossed the finish line. Now you're going to have all the horses set up at the start gate, and then each round you are going to roll these 2 dice, and one of these dice will have one of the 8 horses on them, and this dice is going to have numbers 1 through 3. Whatever horse you roll with this dice, you're going to move that horse however many spots with this dice. But each of these horses is also attached in a way to other horses. You can see this is the 8 horse. If you roll the 8 horse and move that horse, you're also going to be pulling sort of these other horses, number 2 and number 4. Those horses are going to move 1 space every time you roll the 8. So the 8 might move 2 or 3 spaces, where these other horses are always going to be moving 1 if they're sort of attached to those horses. Now, after you have rolled the dice and moved the horses however many spots, you are going to go to your board. Each player's got one of these boards, and you can do one action that's associated with that horse that was rolled today. And the different actions are listed down here, and they're very, very simple. I'll just go through those quick. You can buy a horse, and each of these horses has a cost on the top left, and you can buy them. And if you own one of those horses, you get one of their special abilities. There'll be some of our ongoing effects, some are one-time abilities. So you can buy those horses, and then at the end of the game, you'll get money if one of your horses that you bought finishes in first, second, or third. You can bet up to $3 each turn on one of the horse that was rolled for that turn, and you're going to bet that in here. You're going to have a certain amount of money over here, and you're going to be constantly writing a new amount depending on what you bet, and you might be getting money and stuff like that. You can do a jersey action, which you can mark off the jersey of the horse that was rolled, and that lets you mark off another X on that horse. So if you want a certain horse to move more, you're going to be wanting to put X's on more horses of that number, so that horse kind of gets drug along when you're rolling other horses as well. You can helmet action, which you just mark the helmet off. The helmet action allows you to bet on horses after they've reached a certain point, because normally after a certain point in the race, if your horse has passed that line, you cannot bet on that horse any longer. You can concession, which the concessions, you just mark off that horse number that was rolled, and if you ever complete a row or a column in the concessions, you'll get one of these abilities down here, and the abilities are like getting $7, moving horses backwards, moving horses forward that you want to, getting a free $3 bet on a horse. You can buy a horse for free with those. And you are going to do this until the game is done now. So after 3 horses have finished, the first, second, and third place horse have finished, then you're going to score. And you're going to score if you own one of the horses that has placed in first, second, or third. You're going to get $5 for each pair of jersey and helmet actions you've written on horses. You're going to score for your bets on horses, and right over here it's got like multiplayers. The top horses like 1, 2, and 3 are more likely to win, so they have worse odds. You're not going to get as much. You're going to get whatever the multiplier. So however much you bet times whatever place they finish, first, second, or third, you are going to get whatever money you have left over in that spot. And whoever's got the most money at the end of the game is going to be declared the winner. Now I'm going to go through some pros and cons for this game. Let's start with the cons. For this game, there's a bit of a disconnect for me with theming. I mean, it's a horse race, But these horses are sometimes going to get moved backwards depending on some abilities and things like that, which makes no sense. I don't really like that very much. I feel the end and even parts of the middle of the game, you don't have much choices anymore. A lot of them you've run out of choices to do, so you're just doing the obvious thing. So I like the beginning of the game, but the middle and end of the game, I feel like you're sort of pushed into certain obvious choices where it's no longer that great to make those. It doesn't feel like you're doing much. You're just sort of waiting for the end of the game to happen. Every game of Longshot the Dice game, it feels like the last like 2 or 3 rounds of the game, I'm just sort of waiting for the game to end. I'm just doing whatever the obvious action is at the end of the game and just waiting for the game to end. But let's go to the positives now for this. The pros, as far as the pros, the big one for me is aesthetically. This is one of my favorite looking roll and writes. It probably is my favorite looking roll and write game. I really like the look of this game. The board that you're watching these horses run out. I like at the beginning of the game seeing which horses take out this big lead, and you're making choices based on that. But like I said, the beginning of the game I like a whole lot better than the middle and end of the game. This game also plays fairly well at all player counts. It's a 1 through 8 game. I like that. It plays high player counts fairly quickly. You can play a 4 or 5 player game of this in about an hour. I like that. I'm not a big fan of the solitaire mode for this game, but it's fine. But I'd much rather play this game multiplayer. And as far as like a neutral point, this is a very lucky game. But it is a horse betting game, so obviously the luck will come into it. I don't mind that at all. It is what it is. As far as the rating for this, I'm going to give it a 6.5 rating. I really like the aesthetics, but I don't really like the end of the game. So it kind of counterbalances each other on those. Those are the 2 major points for me. And 6.5 games usually don't stick in my collection. This is actually going to stick in my collection, at least for a little bit, because I like that it plays at higher player counts. It's an easy teach. I really like that part of it. So it's going to stick in my collection, even though I give it just a 6.5. Not a bad game, but not a great one for myself. So let's move on to Riverside now. Now, Riverside also has this track that you're moving around in, but you're moving around this like cruise ship, I believe it is. The theme doesn't really matter to me too much, but you're moving around this track. You have a start track. You're going to go through that track until you reach the very end. As soon as you reach the end, the cruise ship reaches the end, the game is over immediately. Now you are going to have 6 colored dice in this game. You are going to roll those 6 colored dice. One of them is green. You put that to the top right away. That's this fire dice. The other 5 you are going to arrange from lowest to highest, and whatever that middle dice is, say the middle dice is a 4, you take any dice that is above a 4 then, and then put it along on the top of the captain's tile, and that's considered like a fire dice as well. So you're going to choose one of those dice that were rolled, besides the green dice, and then you are going to mark off on your sheet whatever section of dice that you picked. Say you picked a 4 white, you cross off 4 X's on these white circles on there. And if ever you mark off a complete row, it will give you some kind of bonus, which will let you mark off other sheets, other sections, and then you'll get the ticket as well. So that's pretty straightforward. If you took, you can always add the fire green dice to that roll, but you'll have to mark off this top section of fire area, and you can only mark off so many. You can't take the fire dice if you fill that up. You also can take the other dice that's up there that was above the median that was rolled, that I said you put above the captain's tile. You can take those, but those are fire dice too, and so you'll have to mark those off. Like I said, you can't take them if you don't have room on that fire slot. So that's pretty straightforward, is just marking those off. But then you are going to be scoring after each time you roll. You can go to a village space that's up to 3 spots away from where your ship is. And these village spaces are going to have a colored type and a multiplayer on it. And you are going to go to those village spaces and score that type of ticket, however many tickets you have of that type, times whatever the multiplayer is. So you have like 2 tickets of the white section done, and you're going to this white section, this white village, and it's got a multiplayer of 8. So you're going to take 8 times 2, write that on your sheet over in here. But now you can only score each section 3 times throughout the game. But Each time you also have to score more than the previous section, or you can't score that. So that's pretty interesting. And you're going to go through that, and you're going to get special abilities if you also cross off the 2 tan smiley faces on each one. The special abilities are really neat as well. Some spots will let you move 6 spaces away going to those villages. I won't go through all of those, but they're pretty neat as well. And highest score wins. I haven't gone through everything on there, but you get the point of how that sort of plays out. Now, how do I feel about this game? I'm not going to do a pros and cons on this game because I don't really have many cons for this. The major thing that some people aren't going to like in this game, though, is that it is very, very much a solitaire game. There is basically no interaction in this game. There's no reason to play this game multiplayer. I don't mind that, but some people might, so just be aware of that. There's basically no interaction with other players. But the things that I do really like in this game, I think it's a very simple game. It is a very fast game. The first time I played this game, it took about 30 minutes to play, and that's the first game. Then I played this again and again and again, and now when I'm playing it, it's taking about 15 minutes. That's a very fast roll and write game for what is actually in this. There's a lot of punch in this game for how fast of a game it is. For being a 15-minute roll and write game, I really like that. It packs a lot of punch, yeah. And there is quite a bit of variability in this game. Those tiles that you set out at the beginning, your travel spaces, those are set out randomly each game. So each game is going to be a little bit different. It's going to change things up. It's going to change how you play this game. So yeah, it's a great little solitaire roll and write. It's in the same space as kind of like Ganchan Clever. It's very combo-y. You're going to be comboing things back and forth when you finish those rows. I like that. It packs a lot of punch. It's going to get an 8 rating from me. I really was, every time I've played this game, it has gone up. I started out like, the first time I played, I'm like a 6.5. The second time, 7. Third time, 7.5. Now it's living at about an 8 for me. And even before I made this video, I was thinking that I was going to give it a 7.5. Gave it an 8 because the more I think about it, the more I want to play it. After I get done recording this video, I am going to sit down and play some more Riverside. It's a solitaire, great roll and write game that I highly recommend. I highly recommend both of these roll and writes actually for different things. I mean, the Long Shot the Dice game is going to come to game night more often than Riverside. Riverside is going to be staying at home. I'm going to play it late at night when I want a nice, relaxing roll and write experience. But either way, that will complete this. If you have played these two games, what do you think about them? Do you kind of have my feelings about them, or do you feel a little bit differently? Either way, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe to see more weekly content from me, Shane, at the board meeting in the future. I hope you all have an amazing day. Take care, everyone. Is my beard in order? Fluff that beard. Fluff that beard.